Okay, in this mini lecture, we are going to talk a little bit about the acquirement of a social self. We talked a little about how the general idea of cultural of socialization and acquirement, the acquiring of culture, internalization of the importance of it, the idea of nurture versus nature. But here we're going to talk about how the individual acquires a sense of being within the society, a sense of where the process of learning the roles that one might need in order to function as part of the society, and how that interaction develops. One of the most prominent theorists in this area, bringing the prominent ideas which are used within sociology, is a fellow named George Herbert Mead, and he distinguished in 1934. He wrote these theoretical books, these theoretical ideas, and he distinguished between two concepts. One is called the I, and the other was called the me. In other words, two dichotomous concepts of self. And what was the difference between the I and the me in the concept of self? The I is the subjective. I am whatever I am, but it's unique. I am who I am as a self is not dependent on anything else. It's the way I feel that I am. And that would be the subjective thing. On the other side, in contrast to the I, part of the concept of self is called the me, right? So part of me is what I get from other places outside of me, from my environment, from what I'm taught by society. And that would be called the objective part, not the subjective, but the objective part. It's the internalized attitudes of society, and then the individual's awareness of the demands that society make upon me, right? So if I am an adult American male, there is a requirement for me to be something or another, less emotional, for instance, or if I'm a adult American female, I should be more emotional, or I should be making more money on supporting my family, or whatever it is, because that's what society says that I should be doing. So that would be the me part, that I understand because of who I am, that society makes certain demands upon me. Okay, and now how does this develop? Mead suggested three stages in the acquiring and internalization of the roles that are needed to perform within society, of the socialization. But he's talking about the early development. Remember we said socialization goes across the lifespan. Here's talking about just the original, the beginning stages. So the first stage is under age 2 or 3, something like that, is called the preparatory stage. Okay, and in this stage, little children will tend to they can't take on roles. They don't picture themselves in a role of one sort or another, but they will imitate the behaviors of adults or of other people. Now, this is obviously very, very early. Many of the language acquisition skills are on imitation. Obviously, when you take a little child and you say ba ba ba, say ma ma ma, or something, they're imitating before they actually know exactly what it means. And then that language acquisition goes according to the way it's going to go. That's another lecture. But they will take, for instance, the glasses and they will put them on their eyes because that's what they do, or whatever it is. So they'll imitate an adult, and that's the first stage. And it's not no really role playing in that at all. That's the first stage. The second stage is the play stage, and in the play stage, from about 3 to 5 or 6 years old. Again, these are not exact ages. The child at this point has enough language in order to acquire and understand roles and how they can play as something else. So they'll play doctor, they'll play mommy or daddy, or they'll play house, They will play with dolls, etc. And they will imitate different significant others, be like their mother or be like their father, or maybe they'll copy. You can see how this will make
a difference in the socialization and in the society. So in one place they will try to dance like Michael Jackson. In another society they will copy and play Suicide Bomber. And you can see that there's quite a difference between the two. So this will allow them to begin to get an idea of the ideal of the ideals that one might be looking for. The third stage, on the other hand, is called the game stage. If we talk about the play stage, of course, there's no rules to it. There's no time or space element. When you get to games are structured. You know, so with the baseball, if somebody is playing with a ball, right, and they're just playing, there's no rules. You know, this, that, and the other, whatever. You can just play with the ball. They can roll it, they can throw it, they can this and that, you know. But there's no rules to it. When you get to game stage, there are specific rules and regulations and time and roles within the game. So if you're going to be playing baseball, you know that you cannot. If you're going to be the pitcher, you are not going to be the outfielder. If you're going to be up at bat, to be trying to catch the ball, or etc., or football, or any of these games. And that was true, of course, of board games or any other type of games. So in this sense, there are three stages, and obviously they're picking up roles in this in this manner, and the ability of roles within society. It's the same type of process. Another sense that we really want to look at is the idea, or another process is the process of the looking glass self, a theory which was advanced by Charles Horton Cooley in 1964. And this is again a three-step process of a person gaining his own sense of self through a looking glass, which means it's actually a mirror. He was probably British. In other words, there's a three-step process. And the three-step process is number one. We imagine how our personality and appearance will look towards other people, right? So we're sitting there, we try to think of what it is, how other people imagine how we are. And the second step is we imagine how other people judge that appearance. So we're assuming that we are funny, right? Humorous. I have a good sense of humor, right? But do people actually react in a positive, or how will they think of us, right? That we're presenting as a humorous, good-humored person, and then we develop a self of concept. If we think their evaluation is good or bad, so they'll laugh at us because or laugh with us, or find ourselves funny. But you know what? I think they're not laughing with me. They're laughing at me. They think I'm a fool. So my sense of self becomes diminished. On the other hand, if they're like clapping and happy and congratulating me or asking me to come to their party, then I get that feedback. I get that feedback, and my sense of self is enhanced. And that would be Cooley's idea that, and it seems to be obviously complementary to this earlier way that we have from Mead. Now, when you think about the importance of this type of concept, this type of theory, think of it for a minute. Even though this was 1964 and it was developed in 1964, it might have even a bigger significance today in the early 21st century, because we're not talking about only the perceptions that other people have of us. Obviously, this is built on other people's perceptions, because we are allowing us to imagine how the personality and appearance will appear to other people, right? But it's our perception of the perception. So we would call that For instance, a meta-perception. The word meta meaning something above and all-encompassing. So this is a theory of meta-perceptions. And then how we imagine other people judge the appearance and personality that we think we are presenting. Okay? Now, today, it's something which is actually used on a regular basis when people go into virtual worlds and present themselves, and they're presenting they have this interaction with their avatars. Okay, so you might present something completely different from who you really are, and this meta perception is what you are actually working on. It's something that one might want to think about, and it would be a theoretical construct which can be used to understanding the this whole new type of social interaction which didn't exist some time ago. Okay. In the next lecture, we're going to talk a little bit more about the psychological development and psychological theories which present themselves for this development of self.